In this video, we will discuss about what exactly is .NET Core, what is this new thing, .NET 1.0 Core, what is this ASP.NET Core, what is DNX, what is DNU, what is DNVM, and so on, right? So we will discuss about this new roadmap, which Microsoft is discussing about .NET Framework. The first question which will come to your mind is that, at least as a .NET developer, which came to my mind is that basically everything was going good. I had .NET, I had ASP.NET on the top of it. Then I had Windows framework like WPF and Windows. On the top of ASP.NET, I have MVC, I have web forms. So I was creating applications, I was building, and I was happy, right? And I am happy actually. So why a new kind of a framework and what is happening over there? All of this happiness between all the .NET developers was only limited to Windows operating system. When we create any application in .NET, it can run only on Windows. I agree that it can run on Windows Server, it can run on Windows XP, it can run on Windows 7, but at the end of the day, it was only confined to the Windows family. And also I would like to bring to notice that yes, there were some parallel open source frameworks like Mono, which was running, and which helped to port .NET code into Linux and other operating systems. So by using the Mono framework, you can run .NET code on other operating system. But because probably Mono was not coming from the main Microsoft company, so developers were not really keen in using it or keen in utilizing it, right? So Mono was there, but if you see, hardly it was used. I know that it was used it is used very heavily in Xamarin, but if you look overall, people who want to create business applications, you will not find a lot of people using Mono, right? So even though there was some open source framework, but it did not pick up because it did not have the Microsoft brand attached to it. But to be very frank, this was never a concern because most of the business users and end users were using Windows, and .NET can run on Windows, so everything was okay, right? But with the launch of mobile, new operating systems like Android and iOS came into picture, and these OSs were used heavily by business users and retail users. So now I do not want to lose business of that section, right? So I want my .NET code to run on Android. I want my .NET code to run on iOS. In short, as a long-term solution, I want my .NET code to run everywhere, right? So my .NET, which for past 15 years, which has been running on Windows, now suddenly I want him to run on all hardwares, on all operating system. And that's what exactly .NET Core promises. .NET Core says that I will take your old .NET framework and I will make this run on Linux, I will make this run on Unix, and so on, right? But in order to achieve this dream of running on all platform, definitely we have to rework on this 15 years old framework, right? Because this 15 years old framework was never thought to run on Unix or Linux or any other platform. It was only thought to run on Windows. So because of that, we have lot of dependencies of this framework only on Windows. So the first thing, logically, what I see is over here is that, this .NET framework, if they can take the core part of the .NET framework, when I say core means .NET Core, when we look at the .NET framework as a whole, there are two things in the core. One is your CLR, CTS, code access security, your garbage collector, your JIT, right? So they have to first take the core CLR and compile it for Unix, compile it for Windows, compile it for Linux, and so on. So basically they have to take this core, start from the core first, and compile different setups for each one of these platforms. So that is the first step. So what they did is they took this .NET framework, they extracted the core code of this. Core code means only the code which is related to garbage collector, CLR, CTS, code access security, and those kind of things, JIT, etc. And they went to GitHub, and on GitHub, they created a repository here, you can see, called as a core CLR. This core CLR, as you can see, it says that it has only the base things, the core things, that is garbage collector, JIT, and your data types, and etc., right? So they took this core CLR and they compiled for every platform. So for every platform, they created different bits over here. So you can see that we have CentOS, we have Debian, we have Red Hat, we have OS X, we have Windows, and so on. So they went ahead and they put they compiled as per the OS different setups, right, for each one of them. So that is the first step. So because you can't start from everything, right, you have to first start from the base. So they took this core and they compiled different setups for this. Now in .NET Core, again, there is the core thing, and then there are core libraries like system collection, your system string, and so on, right? So for that, they created something called as a core FX. So the foundation libraries, what we term it as, like the file reading, the console, and etc., they put it into core FX. So again, if you look at core FX, basically again in this core FX, you can see that there are different setups created for all the OS. So in short, the complete .NET Core, the .NET framework, is now migrated, or I'll say is now ported in such a way that you can take this .NET bits and you can run on Linux, you can run on Unix, you can run on other operating system, right? So this was the first step, and they have already done it. They have made it open source, they have put it on GitHub, and everything is good for us. So the base thing is done, but then this is not the end, right? We need a lot of things more. The next thing what we need is we need the power to develop on any platform. Means one is that, okay, we have received the power to run on any platform, so we create an application and we can run on any platform. But as a developer, we also want to develop on any platform. Now, one of the questions which can come to your mind is that why do we need to develop cross-platform? What is the benefit of it? For example, C# guys, .NET guys can stick to Windows. They can install Visual Studio. They will create the setup and put it in their operating system. Why do we need to develop on Linux or Mac or on other operating systems? Now, some of the operating system, for example, the Mac operating systems, over there, legally, you need to develop on their platform. So if you're creating applications for their platform, for example, iOS, then you need a Mac for it. That means that your Visual Studio should also run on Mac. So the second step, now what we want is, we want to also develop on any platform to really run anywhere. Now, the first problem for developing on any platform is that the most used development tool by the Microsoft guys are Visual Studio, and Visual Studio runs only on Windows. So Visual Studio is out of question. Visual Studio is a Windows software. It runs only on Windows. And now here we are with a problem where we say that we should be able to develop on any platform. And the second benefit of allowing people to develop on other platform is that tomorrow if a Java guy or if a JavaScript guy wants to use .NET, right, he should be able to use it. So he's on Linux and he says that, okay, I want to program using the .NET framework. So he should have some kind of environment, where he can download this framework, he can compile them, he can see the output and so on, right? So the second thing what we need to do is we need to now provide an infrastructure which can take this .NET framework and do the compiling part, do the referencing part and so on. So Visual Studio is out of question. And that's where, Microsoft has given three things, DNVM, DNX and DNU. So now let us try to analyze that how DNX, DNU and DNVM can help me to do cross-platform development. So we have the cross-platform execution environments. That means the cross-platform frameworks of .NET, we already have it. Now we need the environment for cross-platform development. So we are on the second phase. The first thing what I need is, desperately what I need is, I need a manager. I need a manager which will help me tell that, you have these frameworks installed in your computer. This is your latest framework. The manager should also help me to get the latest frameworks, upgrade the latest frameworks and so on. So the first thing is I need a manager which will help me to manage all these frameworks. Because let us say that I'm developing on this operating system. Like, let's say currently I'm on Windows at this moment, and on this operating system, if I want to go and do development, so there should be a way, by where I can say that, okay, show me all .NET frameworks installed, right? So when I say like this, it will not show me like this. Okay. I want that the manager should go and display, okay, so here it is. You have Red Hat, you have Fedora, you have Windows, you have 1.x Core, you have 1.x 6.81. So I need the list of frameworks, what is installed. And second, I would also like to have a utility, which will tell me that get latest framework, right? So I need some kind of a utility, by which I can get the latest frameworks, by which I can upgrade. And that's where we have the first person from those three things, DNVM, the .NET Version Manager. So what you can do is to get DNVM, just go to the command line utility of the respective operating system. For example, I am at this moment on Windows. So go to Windows and run this PowerShell command. So open PowerShell. So remember that PowerShell is a Windows command line utility. In the same way, for Linux and other operating system, they have their own command line utility. So over there, you need to go and figure out the command line utility. But over here in Windows, I'm going to go and use PowerShell, and I will go and fire this standard PowerShell command. Now, one very important thing to remember here is please upgrade your PowerShell to PowerShell 4.0 and above, right? In case you are using an old PowerShell, then this demo will not work. And second, please ensure that you have an internet connection and you do not have any kind of proxy or antivirus enabled, because if you have antivirus enabled, then getting all these frameworks from GitHub becomes difficult. So I'm going to go here and fire this command here. This command says that go to GitHub user content and install DNVM. Right, this PS1 is the PowerShell file, right? So it's going to go and download the PS1 file and then run it. So I'm going to go and say enter. So there it is. You can see now it is going online and it will download the .NET Version Manager, you can see, and it will install DNVM in my computer. So there it is. It installs the DNVM and everything great. Okay. Right, so let me come out of PowerShell. Let me just exit from PowerShell. So now what I can do is I can go and say DNVM, right? If I say DNVM, and remember that this is the first time I'm doing in my computer. So the DNVM goes online and it says that you do not have any runtimes installed. So it says that you do not have any one of these runtimes in your computer. So do you want to go and install the latest one? I'll say yes, please go and install the latest one. So now what it does is it goes online, it determines, whatever is the latest .NET 1.0 core and downloads and starts downloading it. You can see that the downloading is going on. Now, one of the things I would like to bring to notice over here is that the .NET core is never actually installed, technically installed into your computer. It is actually copied. If you look at your old .NET framework, your old .NET framework, a lot of DLLs are installed into GAC, right? Now this global assembly cache is very much proprietary to Windows. You don't have any kind of GAC in Unix or Linux, right? So if you see, all the .NET 1.0 core actually gets copied to a folder. Okay, so the first thing is there is no GAC in .NET 1.0 core because there is no GAC in Windows, Linux. There is no GAC in Unix and Mac, right? So now that you can see it has downloaded the latest version. It is, I think, 1.0.0 RC1 update 2. So that is the latest core version, right? .NET 1.0 core. It goes and it installs into your C users login. For example, at this moment, I am logged in by using the user. So I'm logged in by the name user. Okay. So in this, you can see that there is a folder created called as DNX. So if you go into this folder in the runtime, you will see that he has installed the latest .NET 1.0.0 core, right? In a computer, if I want to go and query, that what are the versions installed, I can just say a DNVM and I can say list. So at this moment, in this computer, I just have only one framework. So 1.0.0 RC update 2, and that is right. Okay. Also, there are a couple of other commands. I will not go into detail of it, but if you just run DNVM, you will get the list of commands, what you can run. For example, you can see there's an install command here. So you can say a DNVM install latest, right? So if you do this, it will try to install the latest version. What I understand is, because I just ran DNVM for the first time, my PC already has the latest version. So let us see. Probably it will just say me that you already have the latest version. So you can see that it says the latest version is update 2 and you already have it. Okay, great. Also, if you wish to go and install the unstable version, sometimes you would like to just go and install the unstable version to just do beta testing, etc. So you can go and say DNVM install, or I'll say upgrade unstable, right? So let me look at the command -u. Yeah, right. So there it is. You can see that I'm saying DNVM upgrade -u, and I think that it will just go and get an unstable version if there is any. Okay. At this moment, when I did an install, I am seeing here RC1. It is possible that you will see something else. Okay, so I'm seeing at this moment 1.0, you will see probably 2.0. So in case you are seeing this video after, let us say 5-6 years, I don't know, a lot of things would have changed, right? But whatever it is, the whole process would remain same. You can see that now I have got an error here, and it is because of my antivirus. Okay, so as I've said previously, that ensure that you disable your antivirus. So I'm going to go and disable my antivirus for now. Right. I'll say turn on after 30 minutes. So let me again try DNVM upgrade -u. So in case you are getting such kind of a thing saying that there is an error or something, first thing is look at your antivirus, look at your internet connection, and so on. Sorry for this. So you can see that now it is actually upgrading. So that means that there is a unstable version as well. So must be that there is RC1 and there is probably RC2, right? So let us see. Oh, there it is. You can see it says RC2. So there is RC2. So once this gets installed over here, again a folder will be created, and there it is. You can see, right? And now if I do a query, so now if I go and do a query saying DNVM list, I should see that my PC has 2 versions. So let us do that. And there it is. So you can see that it says now that your computer has 2 .NET Core versions. One is the 1.0.0 RC2, which is unstable, and the other one is 1.0.0 RC1, which is stable. And he also says that what is the active version. You can see that the active version at this moment is this one, RC2. So in case you want to go and make it default, you can say if you want to go and make the stable version default, again there is a command saying DNVM use and the number, right? So basically this DNVM is nothing but your .NET version manager, which will help you to see what kind of .NET frameworks are currently copied in your computer. It helps you to go and install the latest one. It helps you to go and upgrade the latest one. So the first part of thing is there, a manager which will help me to manage my .NET frameworks in my development environment. So I have that. So now the second thing is, once I have this, the second thing is I need to have a .NET code. I need to have some kind of a .NET code which will which I want to go and compile, right? So let us go and open Notepad. And let us go and start writing some code, and let us see that how the compilation process and the execution process takes place. Remember, again I'm repeating, at this moment the demo which I'm showing here is without Visual Studio. So assume that you are on Unix, you are on Linux, you are on Mac, and you are supposed to use this .NET Core. How do you go about it, right? Right. So let me go and just say hello world. So I'll say using system, Definitely Visual Studio is a better way to do things, but at this moment let me just go and type things here. So public namespace, so rather than me going and typing the program out, let me just go and copy paste this. Okay, so this is our favorite hello world from Visual Studio, right, in a notepad, and I'm going to go and save this in a folder. So let us go and create a folder. So must be, I can just go and create a folder in my E drive. So I'll just say folder, this is core, .NET Core, right, .NET Core code. Okay, so let us go and say that this is program.cs. Great. So now the next step is we need to go and compile this project. Now, in order to go and compile this project, we need to first go and define the references, right? So we need to go and say that this project will use which reference, this project will use which framework. Is it going to use is it going to use RC1, is it going to use RC2? So basically we need to go and define somewhere which references we want this program to use. Now if you go back to your Visual Studio, if you go back to your old way of programming, we used to provide these references over here. So if whatever references are needed for the project, they are actually added over here. So we do add reference and we provide the references, and these references actually get stored into the chproj file. So this project file, which is a complicated XML file, and it is compiled by using MS Build. It has the references. So whatever we add references to the Visual Studio project actually gets registered into this XML. Now, if we go the XML route, so in our new environment, if we use this format, then it would be very difficult for other people to read this format, because this format is so complicated. You can see over here, this format is understood only by Visual Studio, that's it, and no one else. It's only understood by Visual Studio, it is understood by MS Build. But now, if we say that we want to do cross-platform development, then we need to keep our format very, very simple. Like, simple when I say probably into a simple text file or into a simple JSON file, right? So what they have done over here is in the new system of .NET Core, they said that whatever references you want to define for your code, define in a file called as project.json. So let us go ahead and create a project.json file. So in the project.json, now what I will do is I will do the following. So I will say that let me see, I already have a format here. There it is. So you can see that this is the most simplest project.json file I can ever write. So in this project.json file, what I'm saying is that this program over here, which is there, this console application, will use the 4.5 framework. The 4.5 framework means the full-fledged old .NET desktop framework. I'm not talking about Core, right, at this moment. We will come to Core, but at this moment I'm not talking about Core. So you can see that it is a very simple JSON format, and in this, at this moment, I have just included one framework, that is the 4.5.1, right? So let me go and save this. So I'll say file, save as, and let me just save it here as project.json, right? Great. So you can see here I have the source code file here, program.cs, and all the references are in project.json, right? So let us go back to our command prompt. Now I said that we are referring to the old .NET framework. Again, I repeat, I said that at this moment my program will use the old .NET framework, right? If you see the new .NET framework, whichever I have downloaded, they are with the version 1.0. So it is 1.0 core, RC1 update 2, 1.0 core, RC2 update, right? RC2. But here I'm saying DNX for 4.5.1, right? So the next question comes is that in my folder, I do not see any runtime which is related to .NET 4.5, right? And why is it not? Because the .NET 4.5 is installed into GAC. Remember that DNVM, your DNVM system, your DNU system, your DNX system does not install the old .NET framework. If you want to install the old .NET framework, you need to go the old way. You need to go and download the setup and install the .NET framework, and .NET framework gets installed into the GAC, right? So that means that if I now try to go and compile this program, it would take the DLLs from the GAC, right? Okay, so that's one point to remember. So at this moment, we are not referencing .NET Core in the compilation. Now, in order to go and compile, the first thing what we need to do is we need to go and get the necessary files needed for our project, right? So for this program.cs file here, whatever are the necessary files we need to get, right? So for that we need to use DNU, that is the .NET utilities, right? Development utilities. So I'll say a DNU restore. Oh, again my antivirus, so let me go and disable that. Keeps coming. So DNU restore. Oh, what happened? Something bad happened. Not bad. Okay. If you ever come across such kind of issues, what I do is, which is a very bad thing, I will just go and delete all of these and I will take the fresh DLLs. So I will say a DNVM and that's it. Something happened wrong, right? So I'm just getting the new ones. Something went seriously wrong over there. So let me get the latest version. So there it is downloading. Actually, I think, when my antivirus runs, that antivirus screen which came up, I think he deleted my file. He thought that what is getting downloaded, and he deleted some file over there, and that's why I'm getting that DNX runtime error. I think so. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so now I will say DNU restore. This DNU restore, what it does is, just let me quickly check first if the runtime is there. Yes, it is. Okay, so I'll say DNU restore. Okay, there it is working. You can see that when I did a DNU restore, he did not get anything from online. Why? Because he saw this DNX 4.5.1 and he says, basically take all the DLLs from the GAC. You don't have to take from online. This thing is only applicable when you have core, right? And also, if you go to your folder, you can see that there is a project.lock over here. So we had project.json and we also now have project.lock. So we'll come to this. What is this project.lock? At this moment, just hold your breath. So this is good. Now I can go and also say compile. So I can say DNU compile. Or let me look at commands. Notes. DNU build. I'm sorry. DNU build. Frankly, I'm not good in DNU commands. Okay, so let me accept that. So DNU build. So if I do a DNU build, it actually builds my bin directory, you can see, and it also creates my DLL, right? So pretty much like our old .NET. But you can see that all this compilation is happening without Visual Studio. Getting of the new DLLs, compiling, everything is happening without the new DLLs, right? So basically you can see now with DNVM I am managing my .NET versions, what are there in my computer. With DNU I can get the necessary packages, I can compile, and then with DNX I can run. So with DNX I can say DNX and run. So once I say DNX run, you can see that my program is running out here, and that's what exactly is my program.cs, right? So you can see without Visual Studio here, so it's running great, right? But in this program at this moment we have not utilized the .NET Core. We have utilized the old .NET DNX 4.5.1, right? So now we would also like to go and say that compile for .NET Core. So now let us go ahead and take the new framework, that is the .NET Core. So this was the old one, DNX 4.5.1. we need to now use the new one, the DNX Core. This is no more 5.50, it is 10. Okay, so I'm just keeping the same name for now, but remember that this is DNX Core, means it is referencing to the new one, and this one is DNX 4.5.1, which is referencing to the old one, right? So if you see now, I'm saying that use DNX Core as well as use the old .NET framework. So use both of them. So in other words, now when I hit compile, it will actually compile using both of the frameworks. So there will be two different kind of setups created. Okay. If you look at the DNX Core, over here we have specified dependencies. We are saying that if you look at a program or program.cs, so we have the console, right? So we are saying that okay, use system.console and use this version, that is 4.0.0, use Microsoft.C# and use this version. Now remember that for the core you need to go and specify which namespace you will use and for which version. Why is it like that? Why didn't we do it for 4.5? Because in the new core what they have done is, you know, when they took this old setup and when they broke down the core, they broke down the core into more small pieces. In other words, let us say you have Microsoft.configuration, let us say, okay. So if you want to get JSON, XML, everything, you will say Microsoft.configuration, right? But now they say that if you want to just get JSON, then say Microsoft.configuration.json. So in other words, you know, the new core framework is broken down into small pieces so that you can just take what you need. So that's why you need to go and specify the dependencies in this way, right? So I have specified the dependencies. So let us go back and say first thing, DNU restore, right? This restore, what it does is it actually goes and it says that whatever are the dependencies, he tries to get them from online. Okay, for 4.5.1 he will not, right? But now for DNX Core he will. So let me go and save this project.json. Yeah. And let me say DNU restore. You can now see that I will talk about the log file. He did not bring anything from online. Let us do a DNU build. Let us see. So in the build, he did build two setups separate, right? I'm just wondering that why he did not bring things from online. So let me go here to my DNX. Let me see in my packages. Oh, I already have things here. Okay, let me again repeat this step because I want to show you something. Let me go and delete everything from packages here and let me repeat that step. So let me go back here and let me say DNU restore, right? When I do a DNU restore, as I've said that he will go and get the necessary packages as specified in the project.json. So you can see now at the back end he's getting lot of packages which is related to the system. So you can see that because you said system.console, you can see that he brought system.console, he brought Microsoft.C# and all that, right? and all of these things, he has actually put it over here. So all of these packages, he has put it in the DNX folder in the packages. Remember, in the folder packages, we have packages like system.console, Microsoft.C#, while in runtimes we have the frameworks. Okay, so both of them are different. Now remember that these packages will be used by all your applications, which are running over here, right? And every package, every project what is created, he won't need all the packages. For example, let us say I have a package where I just need console, so he will just refer this, right? So in other words, every project will have their own references. They won't refer everything, right? So what they have done is, they have created a project.lock.json file. This project.lock.json file says that basically from this packages folder, what things he will reference. So you can see that he is referencing LinkU expression, he is referencing object model, he is referencing system.io. So basically this project.log just tells you in more in depth, which packages he is referring. And as I've said, that every project will have its own separate log file, and it is very much possible that they won't refer all the packages. So this project.log.json just tells that this project refers which packages. Okay, great. So if you see now, when I did the build, he has created now two setups. He has created two binaries. One is for .NET Core for the old .NET DNX 4.5.1, and the other one is for DNX Core, right? And one of the most interesting thing to see over here is that he did not create exe, he is creating a DLL. And even for our old .NET, he is not creating an exe, he is creating a DLL, right? And whenever he wants to run it, whenever you want to go and run it, you have to use the DNX command. So whenever you want to run it, you have to say DNX run. And what this DNX does, he picks up the library, the compiled file, and then runs the code. Okay, so remember that DNX is a runtime environment. Okay, it is a .NET execution environment. So DNVM, the manager, to manage your libraries, your packages, your frameworks which are there on your system. DNU to get the DLLs, to get the references, to get things from online. So this is basically your NuGet, right? And to do compiling, and DNX to run. Okay, so you can see now I did this whole compiling, whole getting of the DLLs, everything I did by just using these three guys, DNVM, DNX and DNU, right? So now if you see, we are fully ready. We have different .NET Core for every operating system, and we have these three guys, DNX, DNU and DNVM, which will help us to compile code, which will help us to get the new packages without using Visual Studio. So that means my .NET from here can run on any platform, and I can code using .NET on any platform. But now when you talk about serious development, then you can't just do by using DNU and DNVM and all these command line utilities, right? You definitely need a IDE. So first let me tell you that whatever I've explained here is to make you just understand the fundamentals, so that you understand that how internally .NET Core works, and what is the whole goal of Microsoft to create .NET Core, and why they have created these three Ds, that is DNX, DNU and DNVM. But at the end of the day, you need IDE, you need things to do faster, right? In a project, let us say if you are creating an ASP.NET MVC application where you have hundreds of pages, you can't do by command line, isn't it? So if you want to do development in Windows, right, so you can go with your old Visual Studio. So go ahead and install Visual Studio 2015, the community edition, which is free. But if you are from Mac, Linux and from other operating system, then go with Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code, it is an editor, and this you can run on Mac and Linux, and you can do your development. So basically, I'm a .NET guy. I have been programming for the past 15 years using .NET. So definitely I like Visual Studio. I love Visual Studio. So I'm going to go and use Visual Studio. So let us do like this. Whatever demo we have seen here by using the command line utility, let us see that how it looks, when we see from Visual Studio. So let me go and open Visual Studio 2015 Community Edition. So let us do a new project. So in Visual Studio, everything is same what you have been doing till now. So whatever you create using 4.5 or 4.x version, right from 2.0 to 4.x is only for Windows. But if you see here this small tab here, the .NET Core, right, you can click on this and you can say okay, console application using .NET Core, and if I say okay, let us see the project structure. So the first thing is you will not find any kind of chproj file, right? So if you remember, I said we do not have a chproj file. All the configuration of the project is stored into project.json. So you can see here, the first thing is let me go and open this in a folder. So let me open the project folder. So you can see here we have a x.proj and all these proj files here, but these are not really needed, right? So these are needed only because you have Visual Studio. You can happily go and delete them. But you can see now you have the program.cs. You can see that you have the project, you have the project.log. So basically, whatever I created by my bare hands, those are already here, right? So you can see that we have the project.json. There it is, and you can see that the project.json has a project log.json, which tells that this project uses which packages, right? So now let us say that if I want to go and reference something over here, you can see that in the framework reference he is referencing DNX core. But now let us say I want to go and reference something more, then I can't do this add reference, right? So what I need to do is I need to go and start typing here. So I'll say here I want to refer, let us say I want to refer Microsoft from the core. I want to refer let us say .NET host, okay, and next you need to specify the version. So I'll just say 1.0.1-rc2, right? Now when I do a save here, look at the solution explorer. You can see now when I do a save here, automatically you can see that he is doing a DNU restore. So you can see that when I saved here, automatically he restored the package and he is now referencing here .NET host. So remember that if I go and do a delete here and if I say save, you can see it is restoring. Remember, this command internally is nothing but it is doing a DNU restore, and you can see now that reference has gone off. So basically definitely you will use Visual Studio. You will not code by using a hand, right, the way I have done. But the whole point of explaining you the command line utility was to make you understand the concepts, right? So project.json, where you put your references, C# code is out here. Project.log.json to tell that this project uses which references, and then you have DNU, DNVM and DNX to do things. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. In this video we were trying to understand what is the concept of this .NET Core 1.0 what has been launched, and what is DNVM, DNU and DNX. Now what my suggestion is, once now you know the concept, I would suggest to go and now watch the videos of ASP.NET Core, or I will say MVC6, or if you wish you can use the old name also, ASP.NET 5, right? So the official name is .NET 1.0 Core, MVC 1.0 Core, ASP.NET 1.0 Core. Previously, they named it as .NET 5.0, but they have again named it as .NET 1.0 because it is not the extension of 4.5, right? So it makes sense to rename it from scratch, because in this case, we are actually starting from the core framework, isn't it? So we are not actually building on the top of 4.5. We took 4.5, we have downsized it, we have started from garbage collector, etc. So definitely it does not make sense to say that this is 5.0. So the name is 1.0 core. On the top of it we have ASP.NET 1.0 core and MVC 1.0 core, right? So I would suggest go to the Learn MVC section and go and watch MVC 6 video, which actually uses .NET Core internally. Thank you so much.